Hey everyone, Rory here. Welcome to the Metaphysics Hour. I think I want to give you an update on just what I think dating is like in 2022. I think my last video was dating in 2021 and I was single at that time. I was talking to somebody but we weren't official yet, and that individual and I became official a while back, and it really is confirming a lot of the, quote unquote dating advice that I gave in the last video, and think it's really important just in general for good, healthy human interactions. And what I would put forth to you is that a relationship is in many respects a relationship with yourself and with the other and all the other people attached to that person and to you. So there's complexity there. There's lots of different relationships that are initiated and started and created and developed in those times. What I try to keep in mind is that at the end of the day, I can only fulfill myself, right? I can't fulfill another person. I can compliment another person. I can balance another person, but I can't live their life for them, nor could they live their life for me. So you have to, in my opinion, understand what it is that life is about for you and go out there and live that. And the person that's going to work well with you, out of all the people that would work with you, the better ones are going to be the ones that support your mission, support what you're striving for, and more than likely have similar perspectives on the big theological questions about God, the nature of reality, and have similar morals about lying, about being truthful, about being honest, about being ethical. And if you can find somebody that matches you there, then those are the relationships that are in some ways the most fulfilling, because they don't waste a lot of time in misunderstanding. That doesn't mean that misunderstanding doesn't happen. It just means that the essence of it is not so much focused on what you don't understand, but rather what it is that you do understand and what it is that you can create together. That to me is huge. Looking for a person, looking for a partner, and really being discriminating about this. Not prejudicial necessarily, but discriminating in that you're looking for somebody that matches what you're looking for. And, there can be physical types, there can be dispositions, age, height, blah, 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 blah. All of that is within your preferences. I think metaphysically the most fulfilling is when all the factors line up and you don't have to necessarily work at attraction, right? Like, attraction is not something that should be negotiated. I've had to learn that the hard way, that relationships wouldn't work if I tried to force them to work. They work better when they're just natural, and that part of the equation, the attractive factor, doesn't require me to be not myself. Like, I can just be myself, and that I'll say this sometimes, and my girlfriend will say, wow, that's just so romantic or so attractive or so beautiful or something like that. And I'm just in some ways scratching my head like, well, this is just how I think. And she would say yes, and that's attractive to me. And I really enjoyed that. And that's not to say that in previous relationships I didn't have some degree of that. But it's my recommendation to you is to look for people that you can actually be natural with, and those people actually still want you. That person still wants you as you are. This doesn't mean that they don't want you to improve yourselves, or that you don't want the other person to improve themselves. But you're not really asking them to fundamentally change who they are. You're asking them to be their best self. And there are people that you can do that with quite naturally, and there are other people that you could do that with, but it naturally just breaks you apart. And that's fine too. So it's, in my opinion, the main point that I wanted to convey is that as you date, as you look for the type of person that you're looking for, examine with discrimination how well they match up to you and whether or not you're going in the same direction, and if you want to achieve the same things. You know, it's basic common sense, and I think it gets harder when we don't allow ourselves to be discriminating and be like, no, I'm sorry, this isn't actually going to work. We can end up wasting a lot of time and hurt people along the way. So I think it's really valuable to know what you want, to look for what you want, and to receive what you want, and then work with that. It's not necessarily rocket science, but when you get emotions involved, when you get attachments involved, you get all these different factors involved, it can be hard. So I'm recommending that you pay attention to the people that you date. And if you're looking for a monogamous relationship, of to date one person, marry that person, and build a life with that person, then it really behooves you to pay attention to who they are, how they treat you, how they've treated people in the past, and who they want to be. And that gives you a pretty good indication of their trajectory. And you do the same with yourself. Who have you been? Who are you now? And who do you want to be? And if you can find similarity and commonality, then you might have a really good relationship that can move forward. And if you don't, it's okay. It's okay to cut your losses and learn the lessons and move on. I think that's one thing that people don't like doing, because it's painful. And especially if you get to a point where you're living together and splitting finances and all that stuff, that can be more difficult. So it's helpful to, in my opinion, figure those things out before you start combining your assets and your lifestyles in full. I just think that makes sense. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I love you all. Namaste. God bless.